There we go. Okay, welcome to another episode of Frags and Beer Radio News, where we get together and talk about this week in geek and all the different things that have happened. Tonight we're joined by our special guest for this episode, Crymson Pleasure, who is on video giving you guys some funny faces. Welcome, Crymson.
Hi.
And as usual, my co-host, Russell Michaels. Welcome, Russell.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about. We got a pretty full show. We got the meat of the show is coming at the end as usual. This is our Suicide Squad special, and when we get to that point, we will let you know that there are going to be spoilers. We got somebody in the chat. If you're watching live, please join the chat. Talk to us, ask questions, let us know what you think. Tell us how silly we're being, and let us know what you guys are, if you have any ideas or thoughts to input into this. So we got a full show. We're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about some science-y news, which I love. I love space, and then I love weird technology from the past. So this one caught my eye for two reasons. Actually, three reasons. I was reading this article on, I believe it's undark.org, about shark explosives. They were developed in World War II, basically Sharkpedos. They were going to install these shock collars basically on sharks to guide them. That's how they were going to steer them, and then put explosives on them. And this caught my eye because it's ancient technology. I mean, it's ancient technology now. Old technology really fascinates me because we did some really bizarre shit to try to overcome some weird stuff, but also because it's really horrible to they were gonna blow up sharks to try to blow up ships. Like that's just awful. Like that would never fly.
Sharks
now.
are suffering more than enough.
Yeah, like these guys don't even sleep. Like they're so cranky all the time. And third, I could not help but think of Dr. Evil with the lasers on the shark heads. Like
Yes, sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads.
I know, like how this is just so ridiculous. I couldn't help but bring it up. But if you guys want to read about it, look at undark.org. Just look up Sharkpedo. I mean, this clearly wouldn't fly now, but this had to come out of a brain of somebody who would have been a gamer if video games had worked in World War II, didn't it? I mean, it's just so fucked up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of speechless.
You know they're thinking of putting that in a video game.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it already was a video game.
If not, it's coming now because this.
Get the people who made Blood Dragon, the Far Cry 4 Blood Dragon. Get them to make that. That would be awesome.
And you know what's weird? This project actually ran into the early 70s. 1971 is how long this project went on. So it's amazing that I think they just uncovered like the what's the word I'm looking for? The patents for this stuff. But like how absolutely insane.
Well, that explains it was the 70s. We were doing a lot of shit in the 70s, and most of it was drugs.
Yeah, drugs, and then they were giving us stupid ideas, and yeah, really weird shit. But I had to throw that out there. You guys go read that article. It's just like I'm with Crymson. I'm speechless. I don't know what else to say, but we did some crazy shit.
Cool. It's just cool.
It really, really does.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. On the one hand, it's cool. Like if you can take the shark element, like the animal, like living creature element out of it. Yeah, somebody came up with a really cool, twisted idea. But gods, I'm glad they didn't actually do it because that's just screwed up. Yeah, we did some dumb crap back then. We're still doing dumb shit, but man, sometimes I'm just blown away by how stupid the shit we come up with is. But on a better note...
Well, you have any idea the kind of shit that gets government grants these days?
Oh, yeah, we're still doing...
Studies. There were studies into why lesbians are obese. That got a federal grant. I don't know why, it just did.
Well, lesbians are pretty thin.
Yeah, that doesn't...
No, seriously, that was something... There was also one... that got federal money. It was shrimps on treadmills. For some reason, that got federal money. There are several websites and organizations that are just dedicated to cataloging government waste. Those are some of the weirdest ones.
Did you know that when ants get drunk, they always fall on their right side?
Ants get drunk? What do ants get drunk on?
Alcohol, I would imagine.
Rum?
I did not know they did a study on drunk. God, wow. Wow.
No, that's just one of those worthless pieces of information. I know, like, elephants are the only mammal that can't jump. Pigs orgasm for 30 minutes, and whenever ants are drunk, they fall on their right side. All ants.
That sounds like we need to take that and make it one animal and have a party.
Oh God!
Then it won't be able to jump.
They'd never leave the house.
Well, true. That why would they? So, I
mean, if I were a pig, I'd never leave the house.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would be good. It would be good and bad, I think. It would be good and bad. On to much cooler news. Scientists are about... I'm not sure why. This is a weird article. So, this came out in Seeker.com. Nearby Earth-like planet discovered. But the article, this came out August 12th, and it says the scientists are preparing to unveil a new planet. So I'm not sure why they wrote this article before they unveiled this new planet, but
like, do they have a sheet over it?
I don't know. They're gonna pull a cord and the planet. Yeah, like I don't know. But the cool thing is this is an Earth-like planet found in close enough orbit to Proxima Centauri, which is the closest star to our own. That is close enough and far away. It's right in the perfect zone to have liquid water. They don't know, obviously, unless when they unveil it, maybe they'll have more information. It doesn't say if they have liquid water, and it obviously doesn't say if there's life there. But scientists believe this is our best shot at finding a planet close enough to see, and actually close enough to maybe eventually get to in a long time, that might sustain or already have life, which I think is... I just love space stuff, so this is kind of cool. It is... huge, though. Let me see it. I have the numbers here. If you've heard about this, you know that this thing is well, it's 4.24 light years away. It doesn't say the size on here. This thing is gigantic. 60% larger. There it is. 60% larger than Earth. This thing is enormous. So yeah, really cool space news. You guys go check that out. I don't know. You guys got anything to say about it?
This isn't the first time, though, that they found something that's comparable to Earth, right?
I don't...
If I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so.
It's probably the closest one.
The closest,
probably
but it's not the first. It's probably the closest, you're right, but I don't think it's the first one, because I whenever something like this pops up, I always read it, because I'm like, I will jump at the chance to be on any other planet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think either this one has been talked about before and they're just about to give us more information, or there is another one, and I'd have to look, but I know I'm with you. I've read other articles about what I guess us Trekkies would call M-class planets.
Yeah.
Being seen either by our telescopes or by our satellites.
Much respect, by the way. M-class planet.
Thank you very much. I had to pull that out.
And not to ever bring religion into it, but as a pagan, as a practicing pagan for my entire life, and loving nature as much as I do, right. I'm with a whole bunch of people who are like, we've kind of gone past the point of fucked, and we really need to figure a way out of it. Yeah. So. I'm with Doctor Who and everybody else who says the planet's eventually going to die. Fire fly us away.
Right.
We're not slowing down on how bad we're screwing everything up. I mean, the media's still not covering the oil spills and stuff like that. So it's so important that I would love to be one of those people that says, no, we need to stay here and clean up. And yes, I think we do need to stay and clean up, but I think that it's a small...
Just got to invent the replicator.
Yeah. I think a smaller percentage of us needs to stay and try and lessen the damage that we're causing on the planet. And the rest of us who are going to, the mass of us are just going to keep being the virus that we are. Yeah. So if we get rid of, say, 75-90% of the population, choose somewhere else, then maybe we can clean up the Earth enough that we can get it back to a state in which, it can be survivable. But at this point, I don't really have a lot of hope for that.
Yeah.
And so you believe the Malthusian predictions? Explain. Oh, Malthus was the guy that predicted that we'd run out of food by the year 2000.
Oh, there's those guys are nuts.
One of the most famous fake predictions in the history of humanity. False predictions in the history of humanity.
Well, there have been a lot of false predictions. We celebrated my birthday on the day that we were all supposed to be sent up to heaven or the rapture or whatever.
The rapture day. That was like May 2011.
Yeah, we went out to my birthday dinner at Bertucci's, and then we made it into a zombie game later. But I don't believe in predictions like that, but you can't deny like how screwed up everything is. And me and Trevor, you and I have had many conversations on the media and the bullshit that comes there.
Right.
And like, I didn't even realize, like, I know all about the Olympics and all the bullshit with the election and everything like that, but I didn't realize until somebody had shared an article that there was another huge fucking oil spill by some goddamn company. And
it's happening. It's actually not an American company, and that's why a lot of people are pissed off. They're not covering it because it's an impact on the environment, but they're also pissed off that they're not covering it because the only time they seem to cover this shit is when we do it. You know,
when Big Bad America screws up again.
Yeah, because this is a giant oil spill that's not being cleaned up, and it was. And I remember seeing that artitle, and I don't remember.
So where is the oil spill?
It is over in Asia or in the Indian Ocean. I mean, it's an Asian-owned company. I'm not sure which country exactly, but like I said, a lot of people are irritated that it's not being covered because every time that an American company or a British company has an oil spill, it is worldwide news for days, and this one nobody's heard about. Like, why is nobody covering this one?
And
I typed oil spill into Google News, and it doesn't seem to be bringing up anything related to that.
There's nothing out there on
Give me the city. What's the city? What country is it in?
One sec. 1 sec. Because I can't even remember where I read this.
SpillCon 2016, Asian Pacific Oil Spill Prevention.
Asian Pacific. Okay.
It's not the recent. It's not the Gulf oil. There was a Gulf oil spill in May.
Yes, the Deepwater Horizon spill.
That's a conference.
Yeah, and I wish I had saved the article. It obviously wasn't part of our thing. And
I'm sorry. I jumped into.
You mean, is it in Montara? Was it in Montara?
I don't know.
I don't remember either.
I have an 18-month-old. My brain doesn't retain things anymore. She's 20 months old. I have a 20-month-old. My brain doesn't retain shit.
But
that was in Australia.
And I think what you're getting at, obviously, and I agree. Whether you agree 100% with the global warming predictions or just being a conscious conservation type person, because I don't buy into that we're having as huge an impact on the environment as the extreme environmentalists in the global warming,
the alarmists, as they are,
because every time they say this is what's going to happen if we don't change in 5 years or 10 years, like you said, the predictions are completely false. If we believed this, the Arctic ice would be gone by now, Florida would be underwater, and the temperatures would be about 2 degrees higher than they currently are. So those guys are way out there. And then you've got the people that are way out here that don't believe there's any problem going on. And I sit somewhere in the middle.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you
The real question is not whether it's happening. The real question is, what do we do about it?
Yeah.
And the people, the alarmists don't like to talk about that part of the debate because their solutions are insane.
Yeah.
Well,
Barack Obama doesn't like to talk what he wants to do about it.
The reason why they push it to try and alarm people is, one, to get people to kind of take notice, but two, is you can't get that grant money unless somebody really backs your cause.
You become the boy who cried wolf, though. Well, you do this and people stop paying attention.
I don't think so necessarily. I mean, I've seen tons of documentaries, and me and my husband Val, who have sat down on several occasions, and I'm not allowed to watch documentaries short because they trigger my panic attacks. And he we've explained this, and I've talked to Von Rhee about it, and it's a lot of people, they do the documentaries and they try to scare the shit out of you because they want to bring you over to their side of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't necessarily do it in the best light or for the best reasons, but their intentions are good, and I know the road to hell is paved.
Yes, I was about to say that. Yeah.
But in my mind, I get it. It's not the best way of doing it. It's not the right way of doing it. No. But us as a country, unfortunately, a lot of us won't get up unless you light a fire under our asses, and they're just trying to get that fire.
Or why don't we just try to have a rational debate about it? Like, we could talk about that we should be investing in alternatives. We should be investing in the alternatives. And there's a lot of possible alternatives. There's the Bloom box. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Solar and wind are not going to cut it until either batteries get significantly better than they are now. Because the big problem with solar panels is that the batteries just can't absorb enough energy. I mean, a lot of the energy that hits solar panels gets radiated off in heat because solar panels are just not good enough to absorb them. We have to work on that. But right now they're not up to snuff, and neither is wind. We need to find that new energy that'll do it. And nuclear power and natural gas can be our holdover fuel until we get there in the next 30, 50 years. I imagine sometime in the next 30, 50 years we're going to get to that magical energy source. It's going to happen sometime in the next 30, 50 years.
Well, I mean, that puts us into a vicious. It's the vicious cycle of politics and media. And what gets pushed and greed and stuff like that. And
why are we pushing nuclear power? That's the real question.
And I don't know. Yeah, with both of you, I agree. And here's and my frustration, and to boil it down to one simple, I think we're all getting to the same point. Is we covered an article a couple episodes ago about scientists have discovered a way to bury CO2 into and I'm trying to remember the rock. It's up in Greenland. They buried CO2 with water in volcanic rock, and it turned it. And they thought this would take like 1,000 years. It took 2 years to convert several hundred tons of CO2 into a reusable energy source that was not toxic to the environment. Problem is, it's not profitable, so governments aren't funding it. So the problem we have is you
mean private businesses aren't funding it?
No, yeah, because government won't grant them money.
Government doesn't care about profit.
Well, you can tell me that all you want, but government cares about profit. That's why lobbyists are so popular.
Our government definitely does.
Well, they care about profit. They just don't care about that profit going back into the people's toll. They care about that profit going into their own pockets. But this project could essentially eliminate CO2 over the course of the next couple of generations. It could eliminate CO2 as a problem and recreate it into a reusable resource. It basically closing, and this is the whole thing that everybody's trying to figure out how to do. How do we close the CO2 loop? That is the big question, is how do we take all the CO2 we're creating and turn it back into a product that can be used, that creates more CO2 and gets turned back into the same product and closes that loop, because right now we don't have that loop closed. We burn everything we have, and once we burn it, it's gone, and it becomes a toxic chemical that we need to do something with. And these guys have figured out a way to do that, but nobody's funding them because it's not profitable. And that
then make a foundation for it and start taking charitable contributions. There's a way around things.
There is, but how many people are going? If the media is not talking about it, I found that article on a small little website about technology, coming out of Greenland. Why isn't that on CNN?
Only so many things you can talk about.
There's so many charities out there. I mean, on a monthly basis, I get at least 3 emails from 3 different charities asking us to do another event with them or for them or whatever. There's so many charities out there, and I know about like 6 or 7 that are all going for the same thing. But there's 6 or 7 different charities. Yeah. I mean, and there's nothing against charities. I mean, there's just a lot of goddamn charities.
Like Micro said, and I read an article about Micro. He wrote this article why he was not going to do that ice water challenge that came out last year, year before last, and he basically said
ice bucket challenge.
He said basically that the charity's not a zero-sum game. There's only so much money that people have to give when you're taking money from the public. We're taxed. We have to work. We have to pay our rent. We have to pay our bills. We have to buy food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We only have so much money to give. When you have a company who makes multi-billion dollars and they give a certain portion of that away to charity, obviously, so they can get the tax write-offs, those are the ones that if they really want to put their money where their mouth is, and all these companies are like, we're a green company, we want to make sure there are a lot of companies out there that are pushing that they're green companies, but they're not. They're flying around on their private jets. Even freaking Al fucking Gore flying on his private jet and living in his tens of thousands of square foot mansion that has the lights on all the time. Every time he says he's a green person, I want to pull my freaking eyeballs out. He's not.
Limousine liberals.
And every other company that's like that says, I'm a green company, but then they'll only fund the green projects that make them profit, not the ones that actually have
and
results.
also make them look good.
Yeah.
This episode got a lot more political than I thought it was.
It did. So
well, it delves back into that cycle of what I said before, media and politics, and it's an endless cycle.
Yes.
So we could talk it to death, but that's not going to fix anything.
But what we have, and back to the story, what this has for us is actually a shimmer of hope, but also a shimmer of fear. And I think that's where you were getting at, Crymson, is this could be somewhere where we could go should either A, we reach the end of our life cycle for the planet we're on, or B, we're able to get there in enough time that we can turn things around here. But also a shimmer.
The life cycle of this planet will not happen during our lifetime.
No, absolutely.
But you all guys know that.
Absolutely.
We easily have more than 100 years worth of oil and natural gas.
But
we're good.
We're also not getting to this planet in our lifetime either. Let's face it. This news is really cool.
Unless somebody invents the warp drive tomorrow. Yeah. No, we're not.
Well, I'm going to live forever, so I'll see it.
There you go. But it is a shimmer of fear, because when we send humans to any place, as much as I hate Avatar, it is a relatively accurate allegory for human nature. When we go to a place, we determine how best to survive on it. We determine how best to conquer its environment, and we determine how best to twist its environment to our needs. That's how humans operate.
Well, we've never actually done this to a planet before.
Not a planet, but we've done it to continents. We've done it to countries. We've done it to oceans.
Yes, every race and civilization has at one time been slaves or taken slaves.
No, I'm not going there. I'm just saying it is human, and I talked about this with the popularity of survival games. It is human nature to want to explore somewhere we've never been, but also to find out if we can. The simple question, can we? Why do people climb mountains? Because they want to know if they can. Why did people settle the frontier in the United States? Because they wanted to find out if they could.
They wanted a better life than the one they had.
I'm convinced it's all because they were settling a bet. Every time somebody does something like that, I'm convinced it's settling a bet.
But it still answers the question of, can I? We do things because we want to know if we can, and we want to know if we can survive, and we want to know if we're stronger than whatever it is we decide to take on. Guy climbs a mountain because he wants to know if he's strong enough to actually do it.
It's an accomplishment.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's if you can. When
we send people, which eventually is going to happen, sometimes
they will be missions where they will not return.
Oh yeah,
it's a mission that you are going to your death.
But we're going to be sending people there that are going to have the same human nature that we all have. They're going to go there. This is going to be the next frontier, and they're going to know if they can.
Lily, that's her entire day. That's my daughter's entire day.
Exactly. Children are the best example of that. Why do they get in trouble?
She goes through the house and she investigates new things.
Yes.
And they're more interesting the more I tell her she can't do it. The more forbidden it is, the more she has a drive to figure out what it is and why she can't have it. So
that's why we do that. That's
the
human
adults
nature.
we send to space wouldn't have the same base instincts with everything. They might, but that's not a guarantee they will.
No.
I mean, they understand that they're not there to do everything you just described. They're there to see if it's livable. If it is. If there's a population that's already there and is intelligent as about the same way, they will just straight up probably kill all of us the second we get there.
Probably. That's
because we're strangers. In fact, they'd probably, if they had the same technology we had, they'd probably nuke us from orbit, because why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
There's also that, apparently they think there's that alien megastructure that was making the rounds in the news last few months. They think might be...
Don't talk about my base.
The alien megastructure that's like a few light years away, they think doesn't seem to act like a natural body. It acts like a.
I haven't seen
it
that.
acts like something man-made.
I have to check that out.
Oh yeah, they have no idea. Either it's made of a material we've never encountered before, or it's made by it's made by somebody. And if that's our first contact with alien, if that's our first evidence of alien life, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
They've got especially if it's on a trajectory to Earth, that would terrify all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I welcome our alien overlords.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. I would love to see that in our lifetime. I would love to see so much of this space thing in our lifetime, but as cool as it is, again, these are probably things we'll never see, but hopefully things that our children's children or somebody can explore and experience. But it's really cool to read about. But to get off of the sciencey stuff, because we dragged that out a little longer.
That was more politics than science.
That's okay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and of course, Crymson's a vampire, says Anonymous 741. Yes, she is, but she's one of the good ones. So yeah, we're gonna jump into some gaming news that happened.
Dominic Cooper in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna jump into some gaming news. There's been two bits of gaming news that I pulled out because they're relatively sort of connected. Two different outcomes for two different things, but two different fan-made projects. And anybody who's been on Twitter, unless you've been living under the proverbial rock on Twitter, you've heard about Nintendo DMCAing the fan-made Metroid 2 release. What you may not have also heard, a slightly lower key under the radar release is coming soon too, which is GoldenEye Source. GoldenEye 007 Source, which is going to be a remake of the multiplayer levels of the classic Nintendo game GoldenEye.
No escort missions, yay!
No single player, none of that, not yet anyway. But who knows what the future holds? But these guys are not making the single player. They say they don't have the resources because it is a mod. What I wanted to point out first, and I have a very personal stake in. And I've gotten into a couple of we're just going to flat out call them arguments because one of the people got pissy and unfollowed me. And if you watch the recording or you're watching this show right now, hi, how you doing? If you can't take the heat, you probably shouldn't have started the discussion. But anyway, I have had to fight for my own IP before, and here's what it boils down to. If you don't, as a creator, whether you're Nintendo, whether you're a mega giant Nintendo, or you're me, who has 2 short stories published and hopefully a book sometime in the distant future, if you do not fight for your intellectual property, every time you let somebody use it, that is a strike against you should you fight for it in the future. What I mean is, if you let a fan... And this happened, this is an unfortunate story, but it happened to a guy who created his own role-playing game. If you let somebody take your IP because you're a nice guy and let them use it and do what they want with it, which is what this guy did, and then somebody else comes along and takes your IP and uses it however they want and then sells it, if you go after the second guy, the court's going to go, why didn't you go after the first guy? You clearly want to let people use your IP. It doesn't matter. And this guy lost the case and wound up folding his own like, I have created a role-playing game and I write books. That's one of the things that's my dream. I know how much blood, sweat, and tears and time goes into that kind of project. And this guy, because he was a nice guy, let some people create some supplemental stuff for his role-playing game that they weren't selling, created for free, and then somebody else took his IP and he tried to fight it and he lost. Nintendo's a mega corporation. Yes, everybody loves to hate the big guy when the big guy steps on the little guy, but it all boils down to the same basic rights. I had to fight for my IP because somebody decided to take one of my characters and write a story about her and put it on Amazon and try to sell it himself. Happened to be a character that I wanted to write a book about in the future, which I am now currently writing. If I had not fought for that IP, if I had let him keep it, he could have been awarded copyright rights to that character, and I never would have been able to use her in my future projects. That's kind of what it boils down to.
I'm gonna interject something that's probably not gonna be a fan favorite here.
Oh, go ahead.
But there is a line. There is a very, very careful line, and I'm gonna out myself as a fan fiction writer.
Oh.
and I write fan fiction for Supernatural. Okay, I'm not telling
Good
you.
show. I've seen every episode of it. It's a good show. So you, let me guess, you write shipping fan fiction.
No, I don't.
Okay, good. You're one of the rare Supernatural fan fiction writers who doesn't write shipping fiction.
I don't believe in shipping.
Or Destiel. You don't believe in Destiel.
No. Yeah. But there's a really thin line, and Nintendo as a company has not figured out how to dance that line without breaking it. Yeah. And that's all they do, is they break it constantly. Yeah. Now, fan fiction and stuff like that, I feel, brings new people into the show. But I'm not trying to make money off of my fan fiction. I'm trying to share my love of the show with other people. And people I know who I have people personally read it who watch the show, love my fan fiction, and they feel that I got the characters pretty well, and that's great. And I started doing a lot more writing about it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to make any money off of that. I'm not even going to try. But
because you wouldn't be, because somebody would shut you down.
Well, it's not just that. I love it, and I don't want to damage that love for it. And I think if I tried to turn that into a job, I'm trying to turn my love of gaming into a job, but that's more of a generalization. If I'm trying to turn my love of Supernatural into a job, that's hugging something so tight to the point of suffocating it. But
considering the show's only going to be on there for probably a couple more years, it's already gone through 11 seasons.
Now,
I'm saying the two main actors involved with this don't have anything else really. I think the guy playing Sam's going to be in that Deepwater Horizon oil spill movie.
His name is Jared Padalecki. You can't watch every goddamn show and not know that.
I've seen every single episode of that show. I don't remember. I know the other guy. I don't remember. I know the other guy is.
I'm bad with names.
I don't remember the name. Sorry.
I'm bad with names.
There you go.
His beautiful wife is about to have twins. One's a boy and one's a girl.
Cool. I know them by their character names. I know them by their character names because, I just do.
Now, okay, so here's the other side of that. And as a YouTuber, as a Let's Player, I play video games.
Right.
I am given sometimes video games, and I purchase video games. Okay, and I play them, and sometimes I get hit with a little music copyright, and sometimes I don't. Nintendo will drag you into a back alley and beat the fuck out of you. Okay, that's where they're breaking the line. They are not even
Nintendo side here for a second.
Hold on. Let her finish the point.
I will defend it.
And I have something after that too. Go ahead.
But the point is that games like, and I know this is more specifically, but games like Stardew Valley, games like Papers, Please, these are indie games that blew up because of Let's Players. There are games on Nintendo that are magical, but you're not buying the game yourself, and you're not ditching that $60 on it. You're never going to know, because they don't let people do Let's Play, with the exception of Mario Maker, but it's Mario Maker. And that's all fan-made levels. Nintendo basically breaks that relationship everybody has, because they won't let people express their love for it in such a way that encourages people to go out and buy games and love the product with them. They're so... It seems like they're such money whores at this point that they won't let people just be in love with Nintendo. I've loved Nintendo since I got a Nintendo. My grandmother worked at Kitty City. She bought it for me like the Christmas afterwards. I've loved it ever since then. But Nintendo continuously breaks my heart when it pulls stuff like this, because it makes me lose faith in them as a company, because they won't let us love them.
There's a very simple reason why they do that. Now, the reason Papers, Please and Stardew Valley blew up is because they were indie games that didn't have much in the way of a marketing budget. They are small companies. Nintendo's a large company. They have marketing budgets for their games. They don't need YouTube particularly to let people know their game exists.
Yeah, but neither does PlayStation or Microsoft.
Now, Microsoft's biggest franchises and Sony's biggest franchises have something in common that Nintendo doesn't. Is that they are multiplayer online. They have a multiplayer online focus in a lot of them. Now, The difference between a Nintendo game in their flagship franchises and the Sony ones or Xbox ones is that they are games that are primarily story-focused single-player adventures. Mm-hmm. The issue here with Let's Plays is that people will watch the Let's Play of it, which will give away all the story elements and give away almost everything, and then not buy the game.
That's not necessarily true.
That's definitely what happened with The Walking Dead on the Telltale games. You have any idea how many people just watched people play it instead of actually buying it? I did that. I've seen almost every Telltale game a Let's Play of. That's
fine, but I'm the other end of it. I watched Papers, Please. I watched all of it. I bought it. I've watched Stardew Valley.
Yes, and that's a game that can change with minor decisions.
I've watched Telltale games, and I bought it. I bought a lot of the games after watching them because I watch things because I want to make sure that I love them.
A lot of people do that. A lot of people watch games on YouTube instead of buying them.
What everybody is revolving around is the same 3 points that make this a good or bad or not okay or okay.
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
The Nintendo. Yes, Nintendo definitely looks like the big bad guy here, but what we also have is we all know that about Nintendo. So nobody's blind to the fact that Nintendo will defend their IP like rabid dogs. We know that going into it. So these guys who made this Fan Metroid 2 game knew that. Thankfully, the guys who made this Metroid 2 game are not online crying about Nintendo doing what everybody should have expected Nintendo was going to do, because we know Nintendo. It's all of their fans.
Nintendo should seriously work with these people. They should just work with them to polish it and release it as a real.
We can say what Nintendo we can say what Nintendo should do all day long, but we're not Nintendo. But the point is, we know the way Nintendo is. Number two, Russell's point about the Let's Plays and playing the entire game has a little bit of context to it, because you can, as a reviewer, as a game reviewer, I know this, you can do excerpts or videos of games and you're usually pretty much okay. If you took a Nintendo game and showed 5 minutes of gameplay, Nintendo's not going to come after you. If you took a Nintendo game and showed the entire thing, then you are getting into the same copyright sphere as you would be as if you took a book from a recently published author and uploaded it to your website and let everybody read it for free, or if you took a movie from your DVD and you put it online and let everybody watch it for free. You're letting them see the whole thing. When you're doing a review of a game, or a movie or a book or anything else, you're allowed to take excerpts and you're allowed to take portions of it, and that's called free use. When you show the whole thing, fair use. When you show the whole thing, then you're getting into the showing something to an audience without permission of the IP owner. That's an entirely different thing. And those Let's Plays that show the entire story of a game, those guys are walking the line of what is actually considered illegal and a federal crime should they decide to go
It's why a lot of games companies will take down videos that show the cutscenes. The cutscenes.
Yeah, Lego is one of them. We've actually gotten. I personally have gotten.
It happened with Max Payne 3.
Russell, let her talk. What? Go ahead.
I personally have gotten nailed by Lego for it. We took out the cutscene and they were fine with it. But and that's fine and good. And I understand that, and I understand fair use, and I understand that Let's Plays of games is dancing a very dangerous line with fair use. But also I realize that, and I know this personally, is that people have come to me personally and said, "Hey, here's my game. Could you do a Let's Play of it? Could you?"
Because they're small indie developers. That's what I'm saying.
Not all of them. Not all of them are small indie developers, and I'm not getting paid for any of these too. They're just saying, "Hey, I think you'd be interested here. Try this," and that's fine. But and you can say, and some indie developers hate it. Like a Dragon Called Cancer put out a huge public rant about how he felt that nobody was buying the game because of Let's Plays. Personally, I feel that there's a lot more to it than that. But yes, Let's Plays are going to be a part of it. I watched Let's Plays of Dragon Called Cancer because I was emotionally destroyed just from watching it. playing it, I would have had to like institutionalize myself. It would have been tragic.
Yeah.
But there's a 50-50. There are people like you who will go watch an entire game and not buy it, and there are people who are like me, and I just get more and more excited the more I watch it, and I have to play that game. And it doesn't matter if it's one of those, if it's a Telltale game or Stardew Valley where it's fit to your personal thing. If I spend all that time watching the game, I need, if I can play it, because I don't do a lot of horror games, but oh my God, I just want to play it more. And I know a lot more people that are like me that watch it to get excited, because I don't have the spare $60 to throw away on a game that I may like.
Right. So
I want to go check to make sure I'm going to love this game. And if I love this game, awesome. But if I'm an episode in and I don't love this game, I'm not going to finish watching it. So why would I bother?
A lot of, and as I said, there's a lot of people that will watch the game instead of buying it because they don't see the point.
Yeah. And I heard,
especially the Telltale games. The Telltale games are a walking simulator, as a movie, as a walking simulator in a lot of cases.
And I acknowledge that.
Especially the early ones.
The first time you said it, but you have to understand and you have to acknowledge that there are people like me who are the opposite.
And in between, and this is one of those topics that in the gaming community that's always going to be heated and is always going to be in between. And again, there's people like me who I want to watch a little bit of a Let's Play because I don't want to ruin the story for myself. I want to see if enough of, say, an hour-long video or half-hour-long video of a game gets me excited enough to buy the game. I won't watch the rest of it. I wouldn't watch a whole Telltale. I can't sit still that long and watch somebody else play a video game. But the whole point for me is to see if I like a little bit of the game enough to drop the money on it to then watch the rest of the game myself while I play it. So you're going to have a lot of different people to do a lot of different things. But bottom line, Nintendo looks like a horrible bad guy. And the guys who are doing this fan game did not blow up and get all crazy stupid about it. But a lot of their fans did get really upset and have tried to make a lot of justification for why this happened or why this shouldn't be happened. Bottom line, the guys making the Metroid 2 fan release, they were violating copyright. And Nintendo, you're going to hear the dog for a second. Mommy's home. Nintendo was well within their rights to do what they did. Whether we like what they did or not, that's perfectly available.
I'll never dispute that they didn't have the right to do it. Yeah. I just don't agree with how aggressively they do it.
And on you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, well,
that's the issue here.
But
you can't say that you're all for gaming and then you're all for them making, because to be honest, Let's Playing is a massive industry these days. And to say that it can't possibly not be. There's games that will be benefit from Let's Plays, and there's other games that will not be benefited from Let's Plays. It is not always going to be a positive or negative response.
Yeah, it depends on. There's too many This is not a black and white issue. That's the thing. This is so much.
Zero punctuations. Yahtzee Crowshaw's zero punctuation review of the little known at the time Painkiller game, which is one of my favorite games of all time, my favorite first-person shooter of all time, because I saw the review and bought it, is noted for increasing sales of that game. But that doesn't work for everything.
No, it doesn't.
If you take an obscure game and somebody like PewDiePie plays it, it's going to blow up like Flappy Bird did for a few months.
Yeah.
Fuck that game.
It's just what happens. Yes, it is, but he played it on it.
So
it shot up in sales because PewDiePie played it.
Let's agree to disagree.
I want to make one more point that we're going to definitely move on because we're going to run past the hour anyway. But I don't care. It's my show. We can do whatever we want. But I do want to point out as an author one thing about the fan fiction, which most authors don't have a problem with fan fiction writers because most of us started out as fan fiction writers.
Yeah.
When it becomes a problem is when you take your fan fiction writing offline and you try to distribute it, even when you're not making money. If you were to take your fan fiction supernatural stories and release them for free on Amazon Kindle and let people download them from the Amazon site, you would probably get hit. As long as they remain,
which is why they're on Tumblr.
Yeah, as long as they remain an online, forum or blog or some sort of online medium where people can just go read them. Most authors are okay. Granted, they could come after you for that, but most writers do not because again, we all started out that way.
Yeah, they understand that, I'm expressing my love for something, but
and so when
I'm not crossing that line,
right, and you're keeping it very, very close to home. Now the other game, GoldenEye Source, check that out. I'm a huge GoldenEye fan, but the one reason this thing, and I wanted to bring this up because the reason this got by is because it's a mod of another game. It's not actually a standalone game. It's a mod from Steam's. It's basically a Half-Life mod or Counter-Strike mod. Counter-Strike Source mod is what it is. So it's not
everything's a mod of something.
Yeah,
else.
It's not a standalone game. These guys didn't develop this game, and also because the rights to GoldenEye 007 are in dispute. There is nobody to go after this. Nintendo says they own the rights, but so do about 4 or 5 other companies. And
well, they probably own the distribution rights. They don't own the intellectual property rights.
But it's in court, so that's why this one is getting by and coming out soon when the other one got hit, is because there's no definitive copyright owner or anything like that. So those are the 2 gaming news. We definitely got into a good discussion, I think, because the gaming community, again, is so mixed and diverse when it comes to how we feel about games and Let's Play, and YouTubers and reviewers, and fan-made games versus indie games, and even AAA versus indie games, because you can love to hate them. It's just like people love to hate Microsoft, people love to hate AAA games, but we buy them and we play them anyway because we love to scream at them for all their bugs and everything else. But we do it. But to move on to a more somber note, and I wanted to bring this up, it's sad, but this guy's career is not just limited to one robot, one android. But Kenny Baker passed this week at 81. For those of you who don't know, if you don't know, you shouldn't be watching this freaking show. Kenny Baker was the dude inside R2-D2. He had a pretty big career. He was a little person, and he was in tons of movies back in the day, but he was the guy who gave personality and life to R2-D2. He wasn't just a remote controlled robot that the guys off set ran around the set and made beeping noises. There was a guy inside that little blue and white trash can that actually gave it personality. So hopefully you guys all knew, but if you didn't know, yeah, we lost a pretty important person in the Star Wars universe this week, and that's kind of sad. It really kind of sucks.
He was actually in 2 of my all-time favorite movies, and any child of the 80s is also going to share love for Labyrinth and Willow.
And Time Bandits, wasn't he?
I'm looking at it. I don't see Time Bandits, but there's a lot here. So I might, he was Fidget in Time Bandits, which came out the year I was born, to make you feel old.
Yes.
But and Flash Gordon, 1980, he was in the first 6 Star Wars movies. Yes. So he was in it up until 2006.
Yeah, he was such an iconic. Whenever they needed a little person for anything, I mean, he was in so many different movies, and has been such a huge part of geekdom, especially because, I mean, like you said, Labyrinth, Willow.
Oh, yeah.
He was in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was in Time Bandits, all the Star Wars movies.
He was in The King and I. He was in Prince Caspian and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Treader. He was.
The series back in the 80s.
Yes, he was.
He's uncredited in Star Tours. And if you don't know what Star Tours is, that is the whole Star Wars section of Disney.
Yes.
He was in Amadeus in 84. Like, he was in a lot of stuff.
Amadeus.
He was in a video called Boobs in the Wood, where he played Bruce the convict. I don't know. This one's like right in the middle. What the hell? Infamous stand.
So was he the gnome guy in Labyrinth?
No.
Or was he somebody else? Who was he in Labyrinth?
No, he was a goblin corpse.
Yeah, just one of the goblin dudes.
Okay.
Corpse, not corpse.
Yes.
Corps.
Not with
isn't
the
dead
E.
body.
That would be
Core.
that'd be Goblin Core,
Yes.
not corpse.
Core. Yep.
Yes. Core.
It's listed as corpse.
Yep.
Corps.
Corps is pronounced core.
It is Core.
I
But that's
know.
It's
okay.
pronounced core.
That's all right.
I come from a military family, so
Yep.
yeah, we know these things.
I'm sorry.
We're not all in that. But yeah, dude has
2016 is the year of go fuck yourself. I mean, I can tell you where I was when I found out David Bowie died. Like, we lost Leonard Nimoy, we lost David Bowie, lost Alan Rickman, we lost, and I hate that I can't remember his name, the young gentleman who is playing Chekhov.
Oh God, yes.
Which I crossed my fingers. I'm so happy that they said they're not going to recast him.
Oh, I am too. As sad as it is.
We've lost a lot of, and it's not even just like for us old people who have like seen these people for so long, and that we've lost some younger talent too. And it's just been a shitty year.
Yeah, the Oscars.
It's like the summer of 2009 all over again.
The Oscars are going to be rough because they always do that damn video right in the middle where they show all the people we lost. It's going to be a rough one this year.
I've cried more times over people like stars who have passed, people I have never met who have gravely impacted my life, than I have over people I actually love and care about.
Absolutely. It's been really, it's been a rough year. But yeah, we as much as we'll miss Kenny Baker, we have all of those movies and all those videos to remember him by. He is immortalized in the work that he's done, so watch it. I know he's usually in makeup, or he's in the white and blue trash can that is our beloved R2D2, but he's there giving those characters personality. So watch him, love him, remember him, because that's what we've got. As sad as it is that we've lost these people, we have a lot to remember them by. So hold those movies close. Show them to your kids. Show them to your friends if they haven't seen. If your friends haven't seen Star Wars, beat the crap out of them and then sit them down and make them watch Star Wars.
Tell them to skip the prequels. Skip the prequels.
What's that, Crymson?
There are a lot of good reasons people might like. Recently, Daniel Radcliffe says that he had not seen Star Wars, and people were shocked, and they're like, "How could you have never seen Star Wars?" He was like, "Well, I was busy filming another franchise."
True.
for pretty much his entire childhood and early adult life.
So sometimes there are good reasons.
So before we jump into the meat, I pulled this out unexpectedly, but everybody's got a chance to look at it. I pulled this out only because of the name that ties into the meat of our episode. So we're getting there.
It's a big thing that you and I talk about.
Absolutely. But there is, and I love this response, and I'll tell you why I love this response. But Kevin Smith has responded to the harassment and the horrible comments that his daughter Harley Quinn, and we pulled this out because her name is Harley Quinn Smith, she's received some pretty big flack, and it's your usual online crap, people being stupid, but she did a movie that her dad directed and wrote,
Yoga Hosers,
and people said it's just ignorant, stupid, childish shit.
Well, the worst part about the insult is like that it's literally just aiming at her as a person.
Right.
It's not insulting something specific she did. He calls her talentless. Oh no, he calls her
dad talentless.
Her dad talentless. By the way, sir, fuck you.
Yeah. Kevin Smith's pretty damn good.
Kevin, I will stab a bitch over a Kevin Smith comment. But it's just vile attacking. Yeah. It's not constructive in any way. No. I didn't like your performance. It's literally just bashing her.
And that's the thing we see. A lot of times we see, and we've been seeing this so recently, and it's so hard to differentiate now. We see people receive legitimate criticism. Your article was false. Here's why I think your article is false. And then the writer of the article turns around and says, this dude harassed me. No, he didn't. He said that your article is wrong. Then on the other hand, you have this guy who says you're ugly as shit and that steaming horseshit of a movie, and it goes on with that kind of tone. That is not criticism. That is a dude being an asshole. That's just flat out being an asshole.
That's a douchebag.
Yeah. But what I love about this and why I brought this up, because I wrote about this recently on Real Women of Gaming when it came to a mother who became a mod on her daughter's Twitch stream. At first, she was real defensive because these guys and girls were being really negative about her daughter, saying crap because she's a quote unquote, and I hate this phrase, but quote unquote boob streamer. You know what?
Well, she was a boob streamer
and changed,
and then she changed. Yeah. She wanted to focus
on
gaming, which I have a lot of for.
Yeah, and you do. I don't care. Some people like that. Some people don't like that. But whatever she wants to do, because we're all about personal fucking choice, whatever she wants to do, she can do. So you want to call her a boob streamer? Yeah, you're still a dick. She was doing what she wanted to do. She decided to change her mind to do something else, and other people like that. Awesome. She is making the choice to do what she wants to do. Anyway, her mother was real defensive at first and wanted to go at these trolls and these harassers. But her daughter said, no, her daughter was making sarcastic remarks at him. She was throwing shade back at him. She was doing, and her mother kind of caught on to how her daughter was dealing with this harassment. These people, like her daughter said, these people are anonymous. She doesn't know who they are. They can't touch her. They can't actually physically harm her. They're just words. They're just people being stupid. And her daughter responded with humor. So her mother started to do the same thing. And this article caught my eye because Kevin Smith's daughter said that, her exact quote, "I'd be mad if I had a tiny dick and anonymous voice too." That is a great burn on somebody being an asshole. Yeah.
Bravo.
Yes.
That is a mic drop.
Like, yeah, somebody's being an asshole. Just say some shit back like that. Like, I love that response. She's not claiming that she's being victimized. Whether you believe, some people believe she is, some people believe she isn't, some people sit in the middle and think this guy's an asshole, and she had a great response. One way or the other, she's not going, woe is me. She is responding with a very independent and very strong stance. And her dad, Kevin Smith, said that he would have been pissed off, and he was. At first, he was kind of pissed off. But then he saw, yeah, I would be too. If my people being shitty to my kid, I'd be pretty pissed off. That's how we are. We're humans. We're defensive of our friends and our family.
And he's
and our
still
offspring.
making the other movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is the second movie in a trilogy. Oddly enough, the next one, called Moose Jaws, which is essentially Jaws with a moose, the main character will be played by Harley from Epic Mealtime. Which, if anyone out there is familiar with it, that's that show where basically the male version of any cooking show ever, where they just make ridiculously caloric foods.
Oh, nice.
And eat it.
But what
in a montage at the end.
Right. What I like about this is that both of their responses eventually turned out to be just not responding in kind, not being assholes back, so much as returning in kind the kind of negative response in a humorous way. And I like that, because too often we see articles about how, hey, I'm sitting here behind my keyboard looking at my screen and I'm a helpless victim because somebody said bad words at me. And yes, you may feel that way, and you may very legitimately feel that way. But at the end of the day, they are words on a screen that you can turn off and walk away from. And rather than let it eat them up, these two have responded in what I think is a very strong and positive way. Like, respond to bullies in kind. Don't let them get you, because that's what they want.
I have a lot of respect as Kevin, and I'm sure nobody's going to ever said this before, but I have a lot of respect for Kevin Smith as a parent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because over the years, like, one of my favorite things that I can recall recently was, and recently within the past couple of years, Kevin Smith bought his daughter a cake that said, "Sorry, guys are dicks."
Yeah. He
treats everything with his daughter as realistically and as, he doesn't baby her about it. He's like, you know what, this is it, and this is what happens. Yep. And I'm sorry life sucks, and I'm sorry people are assholes. Yeah. And she is an amazing girl. Yep. She's an awesome, obviously by this article, she's an awesome, strong woman who has enough confidence to not let some internet douchebag cause her any skip in her stride at all. And I absolutely love her for that, and that says a lot about their parenting. Yes. Also.
Exactly, because if you let them get to you, if you let them affect your life. I have a mantra, and this may be egotistical of me to put out there, but I do not feel, I always say this, I don't hate people, because anybody who has done something to me that is deserving of my hate does not deserve the amount of energy it takes me to hate them. It's the same thing. Mantra. It's the same thing with bullies. Somebody who bullies you does not deserve the amount of time it takes for you to think about them for more than a moment. They're assholes. Why give them?
Don't give them space in your head. Yes. Don't let them live rent free in your brain.
Exactly.
It's hard to do. It's easy to say and it's hard to do.
It is.
As somebody who's tried to do it their entire life, but I'm getting better at it because I'm. All you have to remember is you're awesome. Fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
Fuck the fucking fuckers.
Yes, exactly. To bring some of Kevin Smith's own lines into it, we have too much to do in our own lives to let somebody else have that much time in our head, and that's where it comes down to. And I think this is a great example of it. And I tied it in because her name's Harley Quinn, and we're gonna get into the fun stuff. And yes, we're gonna run a little bit long because we are going to talk about this. So, spoilers, folks. If you have not seen Suicide Squad and you don't want anything spoiled, do not watch the rest.
Seriously, why haven't you? We've given you well over a week.
Yeah, don't watch the rest of this broadcast.
Some people are broke
until you've seen it. Yeah, some people don't care. I sometimes I don't care about spoilers. It depends on the show. But some people do care. So if you care, if you don't want it spoiled, shut down now. I'll have this up on YouTube. You can come back and watch it after you've seen Suicide Squad. So, first and foremost,
I really enjoyed it.
I tried to fight for Lily's name to be Harley Quinn. I lost that fight.
Oh, that would have been cool too.
Who is Harley Quinn?
Her daughter.
My daughter.
Having her daughter named that, and I could see that be a tough one. I mean that.
I like that we stayed with Lilith, but there was a fight because if we had a boy, his name would have been Wade Wilson.
That Wade is a good one. Wade's a good name. So overall, what did you guys think? I'll hold mine until.
I'll let Russell go first.
Go ahead, Russell.
Will Smith and Margot Robbie were the obvious highlights of the acting in the film.
Yes.
There was a lot of humor in it, which is something the DC expanded universe has been sorely needing a lot more of.
Yes.
When I heard they were doing Batman the way they were doing it, it's very smart. It allowed them to build a rogues gallery so they could do a Suicide Squad movie without having to wait like 10 movies before doing it. And the good thing is, DC beats Marvel in one thing. Oh, their villains are still alive. That's something that the Marvel franchise has never been able to get right.
That's true. That is very
Why
true.
do they kill everyone?
Except
except
for
Loki.
Magneto.
Loki's the only one they keep alive.
And Magneto. Magneto's a villain.
No, Magneto is not part of the Marvel cinematic universe.
I guess if we're
doesn't throw that into
we're
that.
getting technical, yes, that's true.
Yes.
So what did you think, Crymson? Where were you at on this?
So I'm gonna state, I saw Batman versus Superman. I am going to watch the director's cut. I was as disappointed as people said I was going to be. So then I saw the trailer for Justice League, and I had no excitement whatsoever. Whenever I see like a Marvel trailer, I'm basically changing my panties. They're so fucking good.
I'm with you there. I'm always changing, but yeah.
Except Iron Man 2, Thor 2,
the trailers,
The Incredible Hulk.
That's the movies. We're talking the trailers. We're talking excitement around the trailers.
So I now here's the thing, and this is the reason I'm on the show. I have loved Harley Quinn since the moment she came to life in the 80s in the Batman cartoon, and she was meant to just be a quick side note to the Joker, and she was not made to last. But she got such she got a following. Immediately had a following. She had a following, and people loved her, and they kept her. And okay, so this is what I got. This is my Mother's Day present. This is a bottle of Harley Quinn perfume that I absolutely love, and I have so much Harley on my desk. It's not funny.
Is it called Puddin'?
No, it's called Harley Quinn. He loves me. He loves me not.
Nice.
And it's good perfume, by the way. I didn't just get it because it says Harley Quinn. But I was so nervous. And my name's Margot, and the fact that Margot Robbie was playing it, I was like, oh, God, please don't fuck me. Please don't fuck me. Like, I'm just like, please, sweetie. Like, she looked the part. And at first I was so against it because they went with the newer version of Harley Quinn, which I understand. And I wrote an article for Frags and Beer about how I needed to let go and stop suffocating my version of Harley Quinn. So I walked into it and I just tried to be as open as possible. Oh my God. I want to hug Margot Robbie for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
She gave such service and such justice to Harley Quinn that there can be no other Harley Quinn ever. And I know I say that. I know people say that and they say, like, you know, Heath Ledger was the only Joker and stuff like. But
Mark, there's been 4 or 5 people who played. 5 people played the Joker.
What I mean is that people saw Heath Ledger and go, "Oh my God, he's the best Joker. There can never ever be another Joker." And then Jared Leto came around, and he was a pretty awesome Joker. I really appreciate him.
Mob boss Joker, yeah.
But I mean it. I don't think that anybody else could play Harley the way that Margot Robbie did, and I appreciate the service they did in the movie. You got to see points of her with her original costume.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I wanted to ask.
I did not expect that, and that was awesome.
I wanted to ask, did you girl squeal when she held up the red and black? Like, I saw that and I went, oh, Crimson's
there
gonna
were
be
a couple
beside
times
herself.
I grabbed my chest. I was just like, I was so emotional at that. I was the only person who was crying in the movie, and people were looking at me like I'm weird. And I'm like, you don't understand. This is like me seeing, you know, this is like anybody seeing God rise before them or whatever.
Well,
and
Jai Courtney was good. How in God's name did that happen?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The guy who played Captain Boomerang, Jai Courtney, the guy who played Captain Boomerang. He is known in Hollywood as the man with the world's best agent because he is constantly horrible in a lot of big franchises. He was in Terminator Genesis. Yeah. He was in the 5th Die Hard movie as John McClane's son. He has this habit of being in movies and being terrible at them. And he was good as Crazy Pants Man, which is what he was. He was completely crazy.
I'm with you, Margot, at that feeling. When I saw my comic book character that I'm in love with, like you are with Harley, is Wolverine. I have read Wolverine forever, so when I first got to see Wolverine on screen,
I'm so sorry. Then.
But when I first saw Wolverine on screen, I was the same way. I was just like beside myself with how, as much as you didn't like the black leather suit or whatever it was that you didn't like about the original X-Men, when Wolverine popped his claws the first time on screen, I was like, oh my God. I'm done. Yeah. I'm sold. Let's do this. Like, let's go.
Yeah, Wolverine and Storm, and they did a lot of disservice to Rogue. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
I'm never going to
like
they did
her.
Rogue.
Did not like her at all.
They've done so well, but that's Marvel, and Marvel has continued to do well. Yeah. So I walked into this just
scared,
terrified, because I did suck it up, and I did see Man of Steel, and I enjoyed it. Now, hate me all you want. I like Brandon Roth as Superman, even though
he was better as vegan Vegeta.
Hold up.
In Scott Pilgrim.
Margaret, we lost your audio a little bit. I think you bumped your mic.
I didn't touch anything.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Something went click.
I didn't touch anything.
All right.
But I was so scared, and it's the fear that I'm sure anybody feels. Like Von Rie's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I'm sure it's a fear that she had. I'm sure that when somebody takes something you love and they make it visual, something that's lived in your mind for so long.
Yeah.
It's terrifying, and it's wonderful at the same time, and not just Harley Quinn. I haven't been as immersed in comic books in the past 10 years that I was previously, but I think that, and this is the unpopular opinion, I think that it was an awesome movie, and I think that it was really well done. And I've gotten into, and I don't like to get into arguments, I've gotten arguments with my friends over the past week who refused to see the movie because of things that their friends on Facebook said, and I literally told them to stop being fucking sheep.
Right.
and to go watch the movie and make their own opinion, because this is one of those rare exceptions that I've seen hardcore comic book fans go in and go, oh my God, no, it wasn't to a T, but they loved it. Yeah. And I've had people who know nothing about comic books think that it was an absolutely awful movie. Yeah. It's one of those movies that you really need to see. Like, I give a lot of respect to Queen of the Damned as a movie, but I've read all the books. I can separate the two in my head. I've always been like that.
Something about Batman versus Superman, when you were talking about the Justice League trailer and everything, I noticed it. I watched the CinemaSins video on Batman v Superman. I didn't notice it when I saw it the first time, and I've only seen it once. But the guy in the Cyborg video, when, you know, it was Wonder Woman or Batman going through the video clips, is the same guy. Is the guy from Terminator 2, who created the Terminators.
Oh, the guy who plays Dyson.
Miles Dyson.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, they got him to play Cyborg's creator.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant casting.
Yeah,
brilliant casting.
That's actually kind of a cool tie-in. You know, and I'm with you, Margot. Suicide Squad, and I've been a big critic of DC's movies recently because I really think DC can do better. I grew up watching Superman, 1979, Christopher Reeves. I grew up watching.
Oh, not the 50s version, the 70s version.
The 70s version. I'm not that old, Russell. No, I'm not that old, buddy.
Well, it's still on MeTV. It's still on me. That 50 show's still on MeTV.
I grew up watching.
Just because I know Adam West was Batman doesn't mean I watched it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes on a weird thing. I grew up watching Michael Keaton just nailed Batman in 1989, and I was okay with Christopher Nolan's couple of Batman movies, so I know that DC can do better, and so I've been a huge critic of DC because I think they can do better, and I think that what they're trying to do is the opposite of better. And Suicide Squad, while I have some issues, I have some pretty key issues with Suicide Squad, it gives me hope that, and the trailer for Wonder Woman actually was I liked the trailer, so it gives me hope that if you get away from Zack frickin' Snyder and his vision of Superman, his sociopath man.
He should be like the cinematography person. That's what he should do. He knows how to frame shots.
Yeah, but
he knows how to frame shots.
But not create characters. If they get away from him, I think we'll be moving. To me, Suicide Squad is
Jeff Johns is now overseeing the DC movies. So I think they will write the ship. And this movie was made before he took over, so they've already started taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah, to me, Suicide Squad is the X-Men 2 of, and let's expand the Marvel universe into all the Marvel movies based on who owns the rights. But Suicide Squad is almost there. To me, it's almost there, but not quite right. The huge issue I had.
It was leaps.
Amanda Waller was amazing. Viola Davis, holy shit.
Viola Davis is an underrated actress.
Yeah.
No matter what, but it was leaps and bounds. It may not have been perfect, but it was leaps and bounds. I left Suicide Squad excited for Justice League when previously I had no emotional reaction. I was like, you know what, and it's I want to point out to the people who are going to think it. My reaction to Batman vs. Superman had nothing to do with Ben Affleck. He is a great actor. He was
the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
He was easily the best part of the movie.
I thought the Superman parts were the better part of the movie. You could have taken Batman completely out of it. I was disappointed with how Wonder Woman was represented. I had a lot of issues with the movie, which is why I really want to watch the director's cut and see if it's any better. And so Suicide Squad made me so much happier about Justice League and everything going in.
And the Batman solo movie that Affleck's going to direct.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, there's
which hopefully will cover the Jason Todd thing. We saw a picture. We saw like a thing of it in his thing in Batman v Superman. I hope they cover that storyline.
Go ahead, Crymson.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But I lost my train of thought.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it was leaps and bounds better. Oh, what it was it's leaps and bounds better. And the fight that I've been getting into is, we would have liked to have seen Deadshot in a movie before. We would have liked to see these villains in movies beforehand. Hi, baby girl. But the problem is that, and I'm going to say this, for everybody who says, oh, we needed to see these villains in other movies before this happened, you're at this point, one, Suicide Squad is its own comic.
Yeah.
It is its own series. Two, if I'm DC and at the point where I'm competing with Marvel, who is working on its third and fourth Avengers movie and has everybody introduced, and I will point out that not everybody in Avengers has had their own goddamn movie.
Right.
Hashtag Black Widow needs her own movie.
Oh, that'd be cool.
They are competing with they're not starting out. They're not the only game out there. So
Right.
I think that they did it perfectly. I think they threw everybody out there, and now people are going to want to see more.
Yeah.
Also, these are not villains that could carry a movie by themselves normally. That's why they're on the Suicide Squad. They're a team in the first place because they're not headlining villains.
No, the argument I'm hearing is that Deadshot should have been a villain in another movie first, and then
it's Will Smith. Will Smith would probably not have done that.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that it would have worked that way, and DC doesn't have the time. They don't have the time to make all these movies.
No, they are way behind the game. When I looked up because the thing that DC's got going for them, or when you compare DC to Marvel, is the Marvel Cinematic Universe has roughly 13 movies that have been released.
Compare this to the third movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The DC,
Suicide Squad is the third movie. Iron Man 2 is the third.
Hold up. When you compare the DC universe, I know DC has gone in and said the DCEU, and they're trying to separate these three movies, but they're all under the same Warner Brothers headline. Warner Brothers has released 27 DC movies now. And Marvel, in half the number of movies, has made like 5 or 6 times the amount of money.
Yeah.
And
is that adjusted to inflation?
Yes.
Avengers
absolutely.
are just ATM machines
They
for
are.
them anymore.
So DC, you're right. Yeah. DC does not have the time. But right into Suicide Squad, exactly what I had an issue with is first of all the editing, and a couple people called this out. The editing was a little odd, and I know that's because they did go back and reshoot some stuff, and there was some other things I think they cut out a lot. We didn't like.
Well, there's a guy in England that's suing them because the Joker is very prevalent in the trailer.
Right.
And
there are scenes in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not so much.
Because they weren't gonna tease that the Joker was in this movie.
No, there are scenes.
Well, no, he said 7 to 9 scenes of his were cut out.
Yeah, there are scenes in the trailers, and I was watching one of them, and I noticed this in the bar, where Diablo asks for water, and Harley says, "You do you," or whatever she says to that.
Yes.
That scene was in the trailers, completely cut out of the movie.
There's gonna be a director's cut of this movie. We know
true.
that.
Of course there is. It's
but
gonna be
has to be
3 hours long. I'm gonna watch every second of it.
But the editing, what was really weird for me, the editing is okay. We're given Enchantress, who becomes the villain by betraying the team, so to speak. But she
betrayed Rick and Amanda more than anybody.
We're given no emotional investment early on for this character or the woman she inhabits, the doctor. Yeah. I can barely remember her name. She's hardly in the movie at all when we build up to the scene. So when she betrays everybody and she runs off to do her thing, I was kind of like, who cares? Like,
it was more motivation on you were supposed to be Rick. The point was that you were supposed to empathize with Rick Flagg's situation.
Even then, we weren't given enough of that story beforehand. Like, they did that so quickly, so fast, and so early into the movie that it had no impact at all. There were so many parts of the movie where I was like, for instance, when they rescue the director from the roof, she gets in the Black Hawk and they fly off the building. And I'm watching this as A, someone who's been in the military, and B, as someone who plays military simulator games. the first thing they do is fire off all of their anti-air missile flares, saying, "Here I am, look at me." Like, do they believe?
Also, they clearly flew towards the thing instead of away from it.
So they do that. Like, they expect the converted civilians to have surface-to-air heat-seeking missiles, and then, like you said, they fly at ground level when a Black Hawk has a ceiling well above the tops of the building. That whole scene of them rescuing her from the building only to get captured again was so poorly written that it took me completely out of the movie, because I'm like, they did that entire scene just so she could get captured and used against them, because no military pilot is going to fly off a building and fire off all his flares in enemy territory, announcing his position, and then fly at street level when he could go to several thousand feet above the buildings. Like, what the shit?
And they flew towards it. That was the big problem.
You can say he didn't know it was there. The main point is, why did he...
Of course they knew it was. She's a Mandalorian. She knows everything.
Go ahead, Crimson, you had something?
But I'm as a non-military person, but I've played lots of military games. I'm like, why the fuck? And I didn't know what they were, but as they're flying away, I can go by. Okay, I don't know what a Black Hawk. I didn't even know it was a Black. I don't know what the helicopter is. I don't know where they're going. I don't know all this stuff. But my first thought was, what the fuck are they firing off?
Yeah.
And why? It wasn't hitting anything. It wasn't attacking anything.
Yeah.
There was no reason to notify anybody of anything.
No.
So even in my head, I'm like,
why?
I like it. It took me out of the movie because my brain automatically went, what?
Yeah, why are they doing that? And yes,
it's a cool shot, though.
So for you, and
cool
that's probably it. So for you, those of you who don't know, yes, those are anti-air flares that a helicopter would use if somebody has locked onto them with a guided missile system. And so those flares, what those flares are meant to do is distract the warhead to go after the flare as opposed to the hotter engine of the helicopter. And then again, they fly at street level, and you can go look it up. But I don't know the exact number, but I know damn well a Black Hawk helicopter can fly above most of the buildings in that city. So the fact that they went to street level, like that was done. I mean, when it got done, I'm like, of course she got captured, and of course they crashed, because that's what that scene was written for. When
it furthered the plot, that's what it did.
And when you stop,
they didn't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they didn't even have to do all that. That was all cinematic bullshit.
Yes,
they could have done a million different ways that she was caught.
Right.
That for me was really sloppy writing.
It was. Yes.
By the way, Midway City, people who know DC more than I do, is that it's a minor hero who in the comic books
isn't Flash there, right? At Midway?
Yeah, that's Central City.
Oh, he's at Central. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I
think it might have been the Golden Age Green Lantern. Maybe
it could be.
I think I remember looking this up at one point.
The other part,
it was something like that.
And the other part, and I'm going to kind of disagree with Crimson on this one, is I thought, and it's not about Harley, so you don't have to beat me up. I loved Harley. The Joker was the most aesthetically awful Joker I have ever seen, but he was also the most poorly written Joker I have ever seen. And the problem I have with this is, if they were going to put the Joker in a movie, they should have gone balls out and put the damn Joker in a movie. If you're going to half-ass it, don't do it, because the problem is this Joker that we now have seen has set the tone for what, I don't know if they're going to use him in Justice League or the next Batman or wherever they're going to use him. They have set the tone for how the Joker is going to be going forward. Well, and my problem...
he was the Joker the thing is to understand what the character is. He's been the Joker for a while. In all other previous movie incarnations of the character, it was the first time we were seeing the Joker was created in the movie, and
not in Nolan. I mean, we didn't see the origin.
Well, we didn't know any. We didn't know. It was the first time he encountered Batman.
But
the first time he encountered Batman.
What I had an issue with here is
this Joker has been around for a while. That's why he's missing teeth.
Right.
Because it's presumed Batman beat the shit out of him and knocked his teeth out.
What I had an issue here with is, the teeth were distracting as fuck. Every time Joker was on screen, all I could stare at with his goddamn silver teeth, and that was driving me absolutely up the wall.
Doesn't bother me.
It bothered me.
But the Joker has always been a character. Okay, we can empathize with the Joker because we know he's broken for a reason. The Joker is not just evil. He's not just a psychopath. He's not just a bad guy who does bad shit because he feels like it. He is broken, and there's a reason.
He's pure chaos, though.
But
he's literally pure chaos.
But there's a.
The Joker has always been. He's been pure chaos.
There's a reason, and we always know there's a reason. And the reason we can empathize with the Joker is because every incarnation we've ever had of the Joker is an empathetic character because we know why he is the way he is, but he's also a charismatic character. I did not
empathize with the one from the Nolan films. I did not.
You didn't at all?
He was a twisted, fucked up motherfucker.
Right, and you didn't get the point that he was that way because he was abused and tortured.
He made it up. He gave two different stories for how he got the scars.
Right.
He gave 3.
The implication was that he makes it up as he goes along.
But we don't know.
We don't know.
But that's the whole point. He's a complete mystery. There's nothing in his pockets but knives and limbs.
But he also had charisma. When the Joker is on scene in every movie or cartoon or any time we had the Joker, whenever he is on scene, he is the bad guy that you'd love to hate. He has charisma.
I'm going to make a statement that might confuse some people. Jared Leto's Joker is a Joker I have never seen before.
True.
And I will explain why. So the reason that I love Harley Quinn, but I hate the Joker, is because I love Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
And the Joker and every incarnation of him has been an abusive fuck who basically 90% of the time acts like he could care less. Right. Okay,
about Harley,
okay, you're right about Harley. That is not the Joker that we saw in this movie.
Not completely. Okay, but there was.
We got that scene when she dumps into the acid pit. That was a good scene of a character-defining moment.
Yeah.
Yes, and he dove in after her.
Right.
He looked like he was going to leave her, though, to die. And then he just he stops.
But he did.
And then he looks, and then he jumps in.
And the Joker that I know would have left her. The Joker that I know probably would have eventually broke her out, but would not have looked like a broken mess because she was there.
Right.
So the Jared Leto played a Joker I have never seen before because I have never seen a Joker that outwardly cared so much about Harley Quinn.
Right. He's also tortured her with electroshock treatment. Yeah. So there's also that.
So yes, there was still some of the old Joker. He left her. He drove into a river and left her for dead.
And left her for dead. Yes.
Yes. And those things are typical of the Joker. Now there were scenes that were cut out that were more derivative of the Joker I know and the Joker I hate. So. For me as a Harley Quinn fan, it was more conflicting for me because he was trying to protect my Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So it feels like they at some point realized that Harley was such a lovable, likable character, and she was such a centerpiece for the movie, even though that's not the way the movie was supposed to be, that they tried to play into that incorrectly.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with Jared. Now, I'm not going to say he was a bad Joker. I'm not going to say he was a good Joker. I'm going to say he did the best job he could. I thought he was good because I think that Jared Leto, as an actor, can be good.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you.
He comes off as a Joker with experience with the Batman. He comes off as this guy who's been around for a while.
I'm going to agree that Jared Leto did a good job with what he was probably given. I just think he was given a very poorly written Joker. And it's not... I don't mind that he was a little more sentimental toward Harley, because I've seen both sides of Joker, and there are times Joker is his brain is broken. There are moments of pure, unadulterated love from the Joker to Harley, even in the old comics and the old stuff. And then there are moments. I mean, he's literally a bipolar character. He loves her and he hates her. Yeah, and he's romantic toward her, and then he hits her. And she gets her just desserts in the end when she beats the shit out of him and then leaves him for Ivy.
Yeah.
All great stuff, but the problem is when you present here, we have a whole movie, and this movie had zero heroes. That's the thing that a lot of people forget, and a lot of people that went to see this movie and hated it, I think they hated it for the wrong reasons.
Well, technically, Katana's a superhero.
Yeah, she's probably
Revenge doesn't always make you a hero, though.
Yeah, not necessarily, but she's probably the only character with a noble cause going into this. Even Flag is in this for the wrong reasons. So we have a whole movie full of bad people doing bad things, and everybody that criticizes this movie for, oh, these guys they were mean to Harley, they're bad guys. Oh, they look at Harley's butt, they're fucking bad guys. What do you want? These are bad people doing. You don't want these guys to be church going, Sunday school
and
kids.
Margot Robbie is really hot.
They're bad guys doing bad
Margot
things.
Robbie is really hot.
Yeah. So of course that's the movie we got. The problem is, and as any writer knows, who are the villains that you remember and you love to hate? You love the Joker. Why? Because he's charismatic. You loved Boba Fett. Why? Because he's mysterious. You loved Darth Vader. Why? Because he's mysterious and sometimes charismatic. And he's an empathetic character because you know his backstory. When you present a villain in a movie whose only purpose is just to be a bad guy, nobody cares. Because he's not, you can't relate to him.
No, you don't need to relate to a villain. You just need to understand they're a villain. For instance,
that's how you relate, is you understand why they are what they are.
No, Hardcore Henry featured a villain whose backstory we never got and had superpowers for some reason. We never got to really understand who he was. But that movie was still really awesome.
Go ahead.
I'll bring up a little bit more of a less obscure reference, which is Umbridge.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I haven't seen it.
Umbridge in Harry Potter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Umbridge. Oh, the woman with the sweater vest woman who got taken away by the centaurs.
Is the woman that you absolutely love to hate. Now, I mean, even if you take Game of Thrones and you do Joffrey, you can say incest in it. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about Umbridge, literally there is no. She thinks she's doing the right thing.
Right.
That's really no backstory at all.
No.
But I agree with you. I agree that they fucked up and they should have given you a little bit more. And I think that they were trying to focus too much on the group, but it really felt like they were trying to cram way too much into 2 hours.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna. Yeah, and I totally forgot that it is the literal 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah,
that was a 4-hour movie.
Much as they could, and that's why so many scenes got cut and it got rewritten because things got.
Well, we don't know how much got rewritten. We knew they did reshoots, but we don't know how much was rewritten.
Yeah.
Well, the reshoots they said it had to be funnier.
Yeah.
Because Batman.
And it was really funny.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
But
B.E.T. That was such a good line.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they. Did that sacrifice parts of the movie that would have made sense to make it funnier? Where do you take that? There was no fat to trim, it felt like.
Yeah.
Because they shoved so much in.
Right.
So they screwed up a lot. And as I said, I hope that the director's cut makes a lot more sense of some things. And I
hope we learn nothing more about Slipknot. I don't think we need to.
I think that Slipknot isn't even supposed to die, so they screwed that up.
Yeah.
No, he was the character that I saw the trailers and he's not in any of these trailers for anything. He was in the cast photo, but he wasn't in the trailers any. So I think he's gonna be the character in every incarnation of the Suicide Squad. One member gets killed off to show that they all can die.
Well, he wasn't supposed to die. He was actually supposed to lose his arm. That's the way it happens in the comics. He loses an arm, which makes him a little bit less Slipknot because he lost an arm.
But almost every incarnation of the Suicide Squad in one segment or another, be it the animated movie they made about it, be it its appearance on Arrow, be it the comic books, they usually kill off a guy right near the beginning of it forming to show that you have bombs in your heads, you will die.
I do think that they pushed a little. It felt like they pushed a little hard to include Batman and the Flash.
Yeah, the Flash
was in it for 5 seconds.
But he
didn't need to be though.
Yeah.
Well, Captain Boomerang is a member of his rogues gallery, so.
But it's still it to me. Those are having the Flash is one of those scenes that really his whole intro for such a small character could have been shortened. Like, he got a lot of, like, hey, this is who I am, for a character I barely remember through the movie. I remember the unicorn, but
I think
that was awesome.
I think I noticed that go early on in the movie. I think they spent too much time setting it up. I think it's kind of where you're going with it.
Yeah,
they kind of needed it though.
Because
a lot of people don't know who these characters are.
Not really. They didn't need to show us these characters getting captured by Batman or the Flash, we didn't need that.
But I know who Captain Boomerang is. But how many people you think went in this movie knowing who Captain Boomerang is?
They could have shown.
But if Captain Boomerang had a bigger part, then give him a bigger intro. But he was more of a side character. Yeah. I think they spent a lot of time on Deadshot, and I know that's because it's Will Smith playing Deadshot,
and because he was one of the he was one of the best performances in the movie.
He was one of the best performances of the movie, but I like in my head, I'm like his whole like thing is like 25% of the movie.
Yeah, they sacrificed. What they did is they sacrificed, just like the helicopter scene. They sacrificed good story in order to do something for either A, to appease an actor, or B, to appease an audience, or C, just to drive the plot forward. And all three of those things are the wrong reasons to include something in a movie, because you sacrifice story.
And we'll get to it more in the director's cut. There is bound to be a longer director's cut that will cover certain ground. For all you know, Amanda Waller had ulterior motives for flying near the thing.
I didn't spend $6.50 and $5 on soda to wait for the director's cut, though. I don't care.
But I really enjoyed the movie.
Well, yeah,
we really enjoyed the movie.
We go on Sundays when it's really cheap. But the point is, I don't care if it's in the director's cut. If your cinematic release it is lackluster because you decided to cut things out that probably would have made it better because you're going to release a director's cut, that's a pretty shitty reason to do it. Because
I really enjoyed the movie. So.
Yeah,
there are two things I'm taking away from this conversation, and in my head these are two really important points. One, it lacked a lot. Okay, it lacked a lot in cinematography, storyline. A lot was missing.
Yeah.
Okay. The second point is that it was, compared to Batman versus Superman and things that DC have put out, it was an amazing movie.
Yes.
Those 2 points contradict each other.
They do, and that's the point, because DC has set the bar so low already. They basically, every movie before was a flaming bag of dog shit on my front porch that I have stepped in every single time, and I'm pissed at myself for, because it's fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. I just spent a lot of money on shit I didn't want to the point where now they've just left dog shit on my front porch. Not that I'm saying it's dog shit, but maybe some like gas station flowers on my front porch, and I'm thrilled like they are a dozen roses. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Harley Quinn was amazing, and Margot Robbie was amazing, and she's getting her own movie, and they're going to include the other women of DC in that movie.
Yeah, I saw that. That could be really cool.
That's what I care about.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm with you too. As much as I disliked some parts of the movie, I did not hate the movie. Like I've really disliked a lot of the previous ones. I think it's definitely worth seeing. I think it was a good movie. It was a fun movie. We got done watching it. We enjoyed it. There were just some small parts where I was just like, I hope that and my concern with the Joker was, I know he had a bit part. I hope that this Joker does not set the tone for the next one, but I think he will.
They are probably going to do, either they will do the Batman solo movie will either be the Jason Todd storyline, or it'll have heavy flashbacks doing that storyline.
Yeah.
I hope they take the momentum they have and they keep going forward with it.
Is Wonder Woman the next one that officially comes out? Is that the next one?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I just literally before coming on, I literally saw an article that said that we are getting the Harley Quinn movie is actually being rushed, and we're getting it a lot sooner than I think.
Don't rush it. Oh my God, don't. See, that's scary.
That's scary.
Oh, that's gonna hurt it. You really, because here's the problem is,
unless somebody was working on a script beforehand.
Yeah. Like here's what I want. Here's what I want from the. I want to see. I would love to see a movie with Harley and Ivy and Catwoman and all of them. But here's what I don't want.
They need to cast Ivy well.
Don't fuck it. Seriously, whoever puts this movie out, whoever marks it, don't fucking Ghostbusters it. Don't go, hey, look, here's a movie that's all women. Ha, screw you guys. Don't do that.
They'll do another Suicide Squad. They're just going to do another Suicide Squad movie.
Show us an awesome trailer. Show us some sweet-ass costumes. Show us some good writing and some good characters and some good casting. Go, look, here is an awesome movie with some of the female villains and heroes from the DC Universe. Just do that. Don't freaking make this into something. Just give us a damn good movie with a good story and don't freaking rush it, because you know what? That's going to kill it. That hurts it every time they put out a movie. We're like, oh, this is going to be really good. People are going to love this, and then they rush it because they want to make something more of it than it needs to be, and then it sucks, and we're like, oh fuck, like you screwed
a Suicide Squad movie,
a
good sequel to this movie will be a few years after this plot of this one. Harley Quinn's back on the team, and a few of the members on the original team are now dead and have been replaced by different people.
Yeah, that'd be
cool.
For
instance, Killer Croc could be dead and could be replaced by King Shark.
Yeah.
Because, well, this movie, Suicide Squad 2, will probably come after Aquaman. Yeah. So you probably want to throw in an Aquaman enemy in there, because why the fuck not?
Go ahead, Crymson, you were going to say
something?
something?
And they could do something like that.
Crymson, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Oh, I don't remember. It's fine.
No, this is the point. You have plot lines. They have a lot of places they can go with what they're building, which is good. And they have a lot of stuff from this universe they haven't told us about.
Right.
Because Batman's been Batman for 10, 20 years by the time Batman v Superman happened. Yeah. So there's a lot of backstory there. We have no idea the rogues gallery he has. Arkham Asylum is apparently a place that they introduced that Arkham Asylum is around. It's there. We know it's there. So they have so much. Is this after or before Harvey Dent went crazy? Yeah. We don't know this. Right. We don't know who's in his rogues gallery. There's so many storylines they have access to. Yep. They're not limiting themselves, thankfully. Hopefully. So we have a lot of opportunity here.
Go ahead.
I wanna say, if Margot Robbie, if ever you see this, I absolutely awesome. I love and adore you, and please don't ever listen to a single hater. Mm-hmm. You did an amazing job, and I am so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that you got cast. And the other thing, did you drink something?
You better use the hammer in the sequel.
That would be great.
Well, she did have.
Yeah, she picked it up. Yeah.
She picked it up, but then she didn't use it.
Yeah. The bat was still cool. I loved to hear every once in a while you just hear that thunk where the bat hits somebody. That was cool. I like that.
And the other thing is that if anybody is bashing Margot Robbie for her performance as Harley Quinn, you're an asshole. Yeah. You don't give two shits about the character of Harley Quinn, and you just want to bash somebody because she was in tight shirts and short booty shorts, and you can go fuck yourself. Yeah. So
she did. I thought
that's what I.
Yeah, I don't even, as I've always said, I'm not a huge DC guy. I don't read DC. I've seen some of the cartoons. I've read a few of the books. I think she did a great job. I think they all really overall did a great job.
Yeah, I think all the actors did an amazing job.
They really did. They had obviously a little bit of a troubled script, a little bit of a very large script to work with, a little bit of weird editing and some strange plot devices. But overall, they did a really good job with what they had to work with, and I'm very hopeful for the future of the DC universe. So hopefully we see some good stuff going forward. So, any last thoughts?
Not really.
All right.
Go see the movie for yourself. Don't listen to us or anybody else. Go see the movie for yourself, or wait till it comes out on DVD.
Absolutely.
Don't bash a movie or anything because your friends did it. Don't be that person.
Yes.
Go see it. Make your own decisions, and then if you want to bash it, I'm all for it.
Yep, absolutely. Crymson, do you want to plug anything recently that you've done? You did recently write an article. Tell everybody about it.
I did. I am the pirate captain of Real Women in Gaming, and I did write an article for my own site, which is very rare, called "I'm Harley Quinn and You Can Be Harley Quinn Too," It talks a little bit about my love for Harley Quinn, but it talks a lot about like personal struggle and stuff like that. So go read it, and It's the and then this Saturday I will plug that we are doing our Gaming Against Sobriety at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Tricky Wolf Gaming, and Trevor's joining us as usual. And we're gonna be playing Gary's Mod Prop Hunt.
Oh, that's right. I gotta get that.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing game.
Russell, do you have anything out there that you've recently written other than your monthly movie
really
coverage? All right, cool.
Yeah. But Kubo and the Two Strings comes out this weekend. It looks really good.
That does look cool.
People should go see that.
That does look cool. I like the animation, the style of that. Hi, girl. So yeah, check out Crymson stuff at Real Women of Gaming and the whole site at Real Women of Gaming. Thank you for joining us. And if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Once again, like Crymson said, go see the movie. Don't take our word for it. We're just giving you our opinion. And somebody is ready for mommy time. So, hey, we'll let you guys go. Thank you for staying the extra time. Thank you to our guests for staying the extra time. It looks like we are all out of time by the demands of a young girl. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me.